So first we'll look at where the horses evolved from. And they've evolved to continuously graze 16 to 18 hours per day. Their stomach is fairly small if you look at it compared to their body size. And that has caused some limitations in terms of what we can feed and how we can feed and trying to meet their requirements. And so when we look at forage or hay, and forage can be hay or pasture, uh, the that should be the number one constituent of the horse's diet. And then we can try to balance the what's lacking in that with some type of concentrate or supplement. Most horses will eat 1.5 to 2% of their body weight in forage per day, which means a 1,000-pound horse will eat 15 to 20 pounds of hay a day or equivalent in pasture. And in terms of pasture in this area, it may require 1 to 2 acres to be able to feed that horse continuously without having to supplement it with some other type of nutrient or feed stuff. But can they survive on hay alone? Yes, easily. The what you run into is then if you start adding things to it, like we want to ride them, or they do some performance, they become geriatric. They are lactating or even gestating. A stallion during breeding season, growing horses. Many times the hay alone won't meet their nutritional requirements. Hay comes in different types. So you have your grass hays, and then you have your legumes. Grass hays examples would be brome, orchard. Kentucky bluegrass is a good pasture grass, not a good hay grass. Sometimes even fescue, but that's not good for mares. And then legumes would be alfalfa, sometimes red clover that may cause slobbers in horses. And so then to meet those deficits, when we look at concentrates, we're talking about um, oats, corn, could be barley, sometimes wheat middlings may be added. So something that's high in energy that also may provide some other nutrients, but their number one ingredient is energy. And then we also need to look at protein supplements that may need to be added to that diet, and that might be soybean meal, the most common. Sometimes linseed meal may be used as a product, and then we can add some individual minerals and vitamins. Now, the difficulty runs into when you start adding too much concentrate, you may overload the horse's system and cause some digestive problems. And so there is a kind of a fine line between what we can feed them without causing the colic and some of the other problems. But some of those lactating mares, they may eat 10, 12, 13 pounds of grain concentrate mix per day. Now you can go to a local feed store and buy a concentrate mix. Many feed companies provide mixed rations, so meaning that it is the corn or oats or with the protein supplement and the vitamins and minerals all mixed into one. If it's called sweet feed, it has molasses in it. They may add some fibrous product such as beet pulp or sometimes soybean hulls that have some nutrition to them. We can even use the dried distiller's grains with horses up to a certain percent. Or some farmers will grow it themselves, especially oats. We usually don't feed straight corn. You run too high of a risk of some laminitis or even colic in a horse with straight corn. But oats is the number one, what we'd call safe concentrate or grain. Then you have the stomach that's small, and then it goes through the small intestine and then into the hindgut. And if horses have too much starch, that excess starch spills into the hindgut, and that can cause some of the bacteria to start changing, producing endotoxins that kind of have a cascading effect. Corn has a higher starch content than oats, and so that has more starch that can be transferred to the hindgut and can cause more problems. So it's easier to overfeed corn, for one thing. The other thing with comparing corn and oats is that oats has higher fiber, less starch, tends to be a little bit harder to overfeed. The horses aren't always that smart and really like grain, and so they may, let's say, get loose and we'll find a bucket full, a can full feed, or even bags full of feed, and they may eat literally until their stomach ruptures. They can't throw up. Or regurgitate would be the more common term, but they cannot they cannot regurgitate like we can. And so anything that let's say causes the horse stomach to be upset, or digestive system, a little gas production, that has a cascading effect where we can cause colic. And so it could be too much grain. It could be that you really haven't adapted the horse to a change in diet. Just going, let's say you run out of feed and you're at a show and you go buy something else and you put them on that, that may cause some problems. You could have where just a little bit of mold in the hay can kill a horse, especially the wrong types of mold. And so they're just very susceptible to anything that's going to have a role in changing the microflora of the hindgut.